Happy Black History Month. Hi, my name is Candace, aka Picasso Baby, and if you are new here, thank you so much for coming to paint with me. If you've been here before, thanks for coming back. So today I'm going to be showing you all how to create your own Black History paintings. And as we're doing this, I'm also going to be throwing out some Black History facts that you may or may not have known about different artists in Black History. This painting today is of course dedicated to Black History Month, but it is also dedicated to Destined to Make It, who specifically asked for a Black History Month painting, and I am happy to be painting this with you all today. So let's go over a few things before we get started. So today I'm going to be working with a 16 by 20 inch canvas. As always, you can use the canvas size of your choice. It's completely up to you. As you can see, the painting is already sketched out. I'm going to insert a picture. That way you can try and draw it out yourself, or you can use a projector to project it onto your canvas and just trace it. I suggest using a pencil to trace it first and then outlining in a black marker, or you can just use the pencil and then you can begin to paint. So a few other things I'm going to be working with today. I do have a water cup with cold water to wash my brushes. I have a napkin to dry my brushes off on. I do have some different size acrylic brushes. And I also have my acrylic paint. And the colors I'm working with: bright red, chrome yellow, burnt sienna, Mars black, phthalo blue, and titanium white. I do use Blick acrylic paint, but again, you can use whatever brand you like. Any brand will work perfect, but I am working with acrylic paint. So before we get started, let me put on my apron as well. And if you have an apron at home or just an old t-shirt you would like to paint in, remember you can grab that too. But before we get started, the first thing I'm going to be doing, I'm going to actually be just painting in my background. So I'm going to be making my background black, but you can make your background whatever color you like. It's completely up to you. And I am going to be using more of a bigger brush. I'm using a bigger flat brush to get my background filled in. So as we are painting, let's get started with one fact. Let's see what we're going to start with. So, did you know that the first recognized Black artist is Henry Tanner? His middle name is Osawa, I believe. Henry Osawa Tanner, born on June 21st, 1859, and died on May 25th, 1937. He was an American artist and the first African-American painter to gain international acclaim. Isn't that great? I think that to see Black people in any field, African-American people, all people of color in any field is definitely amazing. And to see or to know who was the one to really open that door for us, I think it just gives you so much more appreciation. And now you kind of have someone to really acknowledge when you are being grateful and thankful for all of the things that you have in whatever your field is. My field specifically is art. So I am grateful that he opened that door for us to be able to be recognized as Black artists. So again, I'm using my biggest brush to fill in the background. And I'm just doing this all in black. Remember, you can do whatever color you like. And as we're painting again, I am going to be throwing out a few more Black History artist facts. But if you have any any Black History facts, doesn't have to be about art, but any Black History facts that you want to share, or things that you don't think are really common Black History facts, please share them in the comments. Let us know what you know that we might not know. And also, if you are not already subscribed, make sure you subscribe. Make sure you like and comment and turn on your post notifications so that you do not miss the next tutorial. Because we are going to be painting it up this year. So again, I'm just getting all of my background filled in. And as you're doing this part, when you get closer to the stencil, if you want to switch to a smaller brush, you definitely can. So I just kind of use the edge of my big brush to get closer to my drawing, to my outline. But if you want to use a smaller brush, you definitely can switch to a smaller brush to kind of give it that nice outline, and then just fill in the rest. Just getting this all filled. One thing I always love, well, of course I always loved my art classes in school, but I really loved when it was Black History Month. I loved being able to create projects, whether it be in history class, if we were doing something big in art class. I loved learning about someone new that kind of helped pave the way for me, and just, you know, putting my artist spin on it. I was always big on like the science fair projects, any art project, anything that called for me to design a board or do any type of drawing, sculptures, anything like that. I was always excited for it. If I was in your group for a group project, as long as you helped with the work, I'll make sure that the boards and everything else come out great. So now that we have that in, normally what we do is we take a break to let these dry, but because this is actually all the way sketched out, we don't have to take a break. If you would like to take a break, you definitely can give yourself a break to let this dry. If you're 21 and up, have yourself a Black History drink. We deserve it. And if you're not, just take a little break, and you can always blow dry this with a blow dryer if you do want to get it dry before you move to the next step. But I'm just going to go ahead and keep on moving, and what I'm going to do is I'm just going to dry my brush off, because I'm going to continue using this flat brush, and I'm going to show you a few different skin tones to get your hands filled in. So if you like this brown as is, you can definitely use it just as it is. If you want to lighten it up, you can mix up brown and white, and just keep in mind the more white you use, the lighter it's going to be. If you want to go for more of a caramel tone, you can add more yellow. You can add yellow to that mixture, so yellow, brown, and a little bit of white, and it'll give you more of a caramel tone. Or if you want to go darker, you can do brown and a little bit of black. I do suggest just a very small amount of black because it does turn it dark really quickly, so you don't need a lot of it. But if you want to go darker, just add more black to it. And whatever color you decide, make sure you mix it up on your plate, and then you can start to fill it in. So I'm just doing more of that kind of caramel tone mixture. And I'm gonna get this filled in. And I am filling in my fist, and also the pieces of the arm that are showing. As you can see, there's like a ribbon or banner wrapped around. So you do want to paint around those areas. And I'm just painting the inside of each finger. If you can still see the marker line after you fill it in, don't worry. We're going to actually be adding a black outline. So that marker line will get covered up eventually. And also, if you feel more comfortable with the smaller brush, please feel free to switch to whatever brush is more comfortable for you. So I've got that filled in, and now I'm going to start to fill in my arm. making sure that I get in between where the ribbon is. And if you get something inside of the ribbon, don't freak out. Just, you know, if you're having a drink, take a sip of your drink. Take a second and we'll be able to like paint over it once it dries. I have 2 more pieces down here. And when you're filling in your arm and your ribbon, you want to kind of make sure that you are paying attention to which one you're doing. So we know this big chunk here is the wrist, and then it starts to skip. So you have a piece of the ribbon, skip, and that goes back into the arm color. Another piece of the ribbon, skip, and back to the arm color. And then that very last piece is the ribbon. So it's like we have those 3 pieces of the ribbon, or 4 with that. 3 pieces of the ribbon and 3 pieces of the arm. I'm just gonna get those filled in. And sometimes if I have, I'm gonna switch to more of a medium brush, because sometimes if I have like sheer spots where I still feel like, oh, I can see a little bit of the background and I just wanna really clean those areas up, I just do a little bit more of my mixture. And I go in with more of a smaller brush so I can really get into that area, or whatever area I'm trying to make sure it's not super see-through or sheer. And I just kind of go back over it. And if you find that it's not dry enough for you to go back over, you can give it a second, let it dry, and then you can go back over it a bit. Yeah, and same thing inside of the arm. If you see any spots inside of the arm, you can always go back and add some color. Just so that you have everything really nicely filled in. And then I'm gonna wash this brush because I'm gonna actually keep using it to no, I'm gonna switch to a smaller brush, because what I'm gonna do next, I'm gonna fill in the inside of my banner first. Now with the inside of your banner, you want that to either be lighter than what you're gonna do for this solid piece, or darker than what you're gonna do, because you want to make sure that you can see that the banner's wrapping around. So one side is the front, one side is the back. So I'm gonna go in with a bit of a smaller brush. I'm just using more of a smaller flat brush. And my banner is going to be, I'm gonna do a red banner. I'm gonna do red. So for the inside of mine, I wanna do it a little bit lighter. So I'm mixing up red and a little bit of white. If you wanna go for it, like if you're gonna do a red banner as well, but you want your inside to be darker, do red and a little bit of black to make burgundy. And where the inside is, but all 3 of these pieces, well, this 4th one too, so 1, 2, 3, 4, those are the front. These little curved pieces on the side, those are gonna be the inside of the banner. So make sure you kind of mark those off, and then you can go in and fill them in. And as we're doing that, let's see if we have another fact. So the next fact that we have is, who was the first female black artist? The first black female artist. And her name was Edmonia Lewis. She began to gain prominence in the United States during the Civil War. At the end of the 19th century, she remained the only black woman artist who had participated in and been recognized to any extent by the American artistic mainstream. Wow. And I believe she was known more so for her sculptures as well. So she was a sculptor. But yeah, so Edmonia Lewis. If anyone ever asked you, that was the first recognized female African American artist. So I'm just gonna keep getting these filled in. Remember, these are the inside, so I'm making them a little bit lighter because my actual ribbon is going to be red. Now, I only used a little bit of the white because I don't want it to be like super pink or anything. I just want it to be a bit of a lighter red, since I'm going to be using that bright red for the actual banner. Now, if you want to keep using this brush, you definitely can. I'm going to go back to this medium size brush. And now I'm picking up just red by itself, and I'm getting the other pieces filled in. So I'm just going to make sure to get all 4 of those pieces filled. And again, you can do this really honestly with any color that you like. It's completely up to you what color you use. Just make sure that, like, let's say you decide to use green for your ribbon, make sure that the insides are either a lighter green or a darker green, so that you can see the difference between the inside and the outside. Right, so now that I have all of that filled, this time we do have to actually give ourselves a break. We have to let this dry. So again, if you want to grab a blow dryer or you want to blow dry everything, you definitely can. If you want to give yourself about a 10 to 15 minute break, just kind of step away from it for a little while, and then we'll come back and start to add our details together.
One eternity later.
Okay, so now that our paintings are dry, we can go ahead and start to add on those details to really give it our own finishing touches. So what I'm going to be doing, I'm going to be writing on the front of my banner, and I'm going to be using a bit of a smaller round brush. If you want to use a brush even smaller than this, you definitely can. But I am going to be writing Black Lives Matter. Now, what you decide to write on yours is completely up to you. If you want to write Black History Month, it's however you want to do it. It's completely up to you. But I am going to be writing Black Lives Matter, and I'm going to be writing it in the color green. So right now I am mixing up blue and yellow on my plate, and I'm using a good amount of yellow and just a little bit of blue because I don't want it to be super dark, because I want it to show up on this red. And what font you choose to write it in, or what script you choose, is up to you. I'm just going to be writing it regular, but you can always, if you want to write it in cursive, however you want to write it, it's up to you. I'm just using this small brush. And keep in mind, as you're doing this, you do want to be mindful of how much space that you have, because you know how you go to like make let's say like a poster board sign or something, and then you start off really, really big, and then you don't have enough room left, so you have to write the rest of the letters really small. Make sure that you're being mindful about how much space you have. Sometimes I even like to start with the middle letter and build out from there. That way I know I'm gonna have enough space. So again, for mine, I am writing Black History. I'm sorry, I'm writing Black Lives Matter. But if you want to write Black History Month or something different, it is completely up to you. Or even if you just wanted to do like the initials, like BLM. I'm gonna do my last one. And I'm gonna also throw out a Black History fact. And again, you can write it in the font of your choice. I'm just doing just like regular script. But if you want to do it in cursive, if you want to actually create like bubble letters, it's completely up to you. So my next fact, while I give that a second to dry because I ain't want to add another detail to it. My next fact, and this is actually going to be my last fact, is do you know who has sold the most expensive painting? What Black artist has sold the most expensive painting? So to date, Kerry James Marshall has sold the highest grossing painting, and that is also for the Black artist alive, because I believe Basquiat has sold more than Kerry James Marshall, but Basquiat is not living. So as far as a Black living artist, Kerry James Marshall sold a painting in 2018 for $21 million. It was in May of 2018. And again, that is for a living Black artist. Most artists do not make they don't sell their most expensive painting until they're gone, or they don't even really get to enjoy like the fruits of their labor, because again, what they created doesn't start to gain value until they're gone. But for this amazing artist, Kerry James Washington, he was able to enjoy his flowers while he was living. He was given his flowers while he was living. He has sold the highest, again, that most expensive painting thus far, and I hope to see more Black artists do that. For anybody to be given their flowers while they're alive is super, super important, and I'm thankful that I'm able to receive my flowers while I'm alive, to be able to paint with you all, for your encouraging words, for you all to keep motivating me to keep painting, for giving me advice on painting, just being a part of this journey with me. I thank you all so much for giving me my flowers as an artist while I'm alive, and I enjoy doing this with you all. So what I'm going to do next, I'm going to add a small detail to my letters. I'm just going to go in with a small brush and a little bit of white paint. And all I'm doing on some of the letters, you can either like do a quick white outline next to it, or you can actually do it inside of it. So it's kind of like how we add highlights to some of the letters sometimes, or how we add highlights to different things to just give it some extra color. I'm just going in with a little bit of white, and because my green is not dry completely, it is blending in to just give it a nice subtle highlight. And as you're doing that part, if there is anything else you want to add, like if you want to add designs to your banner, to your ribbon, if you want to add designs anywhere on your canvas, you definitely can. But all I'm going to do to clean this up is I'm going to go in and add in that black outline. And I want to make sure that I'm adding just a little bit of water to my brush and mixing it in with some of my black paint, because I do want to thin the paint down a bit so that I can get some really nice lines. So just mixing it on my plate. And now all I'm going to do, this is where you're going to bring back out your fingers. So if you can't see your lines that you started with, make sure you start from your thumb. But I'm starting from my pinky because I can see the lines that I started with. And you just want to really take your time with this part. That way you get some really nice lines, you get it cleaned up really well, and you'll have something super nice to hang for Black History Month. If you want to, if you're a teacher, you might want to display this in your classroom. If you have kids, you might want to display this for them. And the good thing about making these paintings that are, well, any painting in general, but especially paintings that are specific to a certain celebration, you can always store them and then bring them back out. So like when I do holiday paintings with people, they like to store them once the holiday is over and then bring them back out to hang the next year. And you can do the same thing with this. You can easily store it and then bring back out your Black History Month painting next year. Or you can leave it up all year. It's your prerogative. And adding this black outline really helps with the ribbon too, because it's going to help you really tell the difference between the inside of the ribbon and the outside of the ribbon. So I'm just going to continue on this. Also making sure that you are outlining the pieces of the arm that are showing as well. Anywhere where you can pretty much still see your pencil marker or your black marker, your pencil line or your black marker, whatever you use to create your drawing. If you can still see those lines, make sure that you're using black paint to do a nice outline. And you do want to be really careful as you're doing this part, just to make sure that you don't get anything like on your words, or you don't smear your words, just in case they're not completely dried yet. And if you do feel like they're not completely dried, feel free to give yourself a break before you do the outline. Let it dry and then you can start if you think you're going to smear it. There you have it. So again, if you're going to be adding any extra details to yours, any pictures, words, if you want to put like words around here, you definitely can. I think that something like this would be great if you wanted to even add the names of Black lives that we have lost. If you want to add their names around here using white paint, you definitely can. But all I'm going to do at this point, I'm going to use this small brush. I'm washing it off. All I'm going to do is pick up a little bit of white paint, and I'm just adding my initials. You can do your initials or your signature, and then your painting is complete. So now that you have your very own Black History Month painting, you can hang the painting now and enjoy the rest of the month. You can keep it hanging as long as you'd like. And once you're finished with it, you can even wrap it up. I like to wrap mine in like saran wrap or some type of cardboard and just store it for the next time that I want to display it. As always, thank you so much for painting with me today, for learning some new Black history facts with me. And if you have any, make sure you leave them down in the comments. And also make sure that you are subscribed, because I am almost close to 2,000 subscribers. And when I get to 2,000 subscribers, I am going to be giving away a paint party kit. So make sure that you're subscribed. Make sure that you have on your post notifications so that you don't miss the next tutorial and so that you don't miss out on the giveaway. Thank you all so much for painting with me, and I'll see you in the next tutorial.